How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that candidate.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you then.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir, and I thank you for your generous donation.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir. What they possessed could be useful for the living, and I'm sure they would agree if they could speak.
You may be right, but you'll go to jail if you're caught.
If ever I have to go to jail, I'm sure I'll find a way to help people there, too.
Damn it! Why is this so difficult every time?
That is better. That is better. I will make it through one more night.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening.
Tell me, nurse, did you know Dr. Tippett was addicted to medication?
I suspected this behavior for some time, but never dared to ask him about it, until the day he confessed to me.
Why would he confess to you about his addiction, Nurse Brannigan?
Don't you know you doctors can't hide anything from a nurse? We're always there, even if you don't notice us.
Do you consider yourselves our confessors, Nurse Brannigan?
I wouldn't dare, Dr. Reed. But I'm intrigued. How did you discover Dr. Tippett's secret?
What can I say? I seem to have a knack for discovering secrets.
And for hiding them as well.
Do you approve of his addiction?
Of course I don't approve. But I understand he needs it to fight the exhaustion. Let's hope he'll stop injecting himself once the epidemic is over.
And what if he doesn't?
Then we'll have to convince him to stop. I believe he's still in control of his addiction, for now. But we must remain vigilant.
It's locked, all right.
If you're not too tired, could you help your mum? Daughter ever. Carol, give your mummy a kiss.
Yes, I love you too, Mother.
Be careful, Carol. You're wasting good food here.
Yes, Mother.
I said be careful, child. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Mummy has been so clumsy again.
No, that's okay. It won't bleed for long.
You're so pale. Are you feeling sick? Do you need to see a doctor?
No, I'm fine. I already saw the doctor last week.
Don't be silly. You must see a doctor. Just don't tell him how clumsy your mummy is, all right? I love you so much, my baby.
I love you too, Mother.
Good evening, Miss Price. How are you?
Dr. Reed, I didn't know you had returned from the war. I had a new doctor when you left, but he's not as kind as you.
Always glad to see a former patient in good condition. It's been a long time.
Too long indeed. And as a token of my appreciation, I'll grant you the best price if you fancy buying anything from my humble shop.
What can you tell me about yourself, Miss Price?
I'm still managing my shop. The only difference is, since the quarantine, we're open at night. You, on the contrary, seem to have changed a lot.
Really? Have I changed that much? It must have been the war and the night shifts since my return.
Don't get me wrong, Dr. Reed, you're still handsome. Just maybe a little bit wiser, more serious. It suits you well.
Tell me more about yourself. No new fiancé? I remember you were hoping to get remarried. I'm sure you must have a few suitors.
Who would marry an old bat like myself with a grown daughter and a little business? As you know, I only fancy handsome men like yourself.
Have you noticed anything in particular in this part of town recently?
Other than you coming back to cheer me up? Nothing at all, Dr. Reed.
Tell me, Carolyn, do you often wound or hurt your daughter by mistake?
No. I always thought it was Carol's clumsiness that caused these incidents. Maybe it's a family trait, Doctor.
You really believe it's just bad luck and being clumsy, then?
Of course, Doctor. What else could it be? I have nothing to hide.
Does your daughter still worry you, Miss Price? I remember you were often concerned about her health when she was younger.
Have you not seen Carol since you returned? She's almost a young woman now. But she'll always remain my sweet little baby.
So you're less afraid?
Some things never change. Carol is still too clumsy for her own good. Sometimes her innocence puts her in real danger.
Why would her innocence put her in danger?
She does not realize how cruel life can be. Maybe I was a bad mother to protect her too much. My poor dear Carol.
You have every reason to be cautious, Miss Price. Especially in these difficult times.
Maybe you could talk with her, Dr. Reed. It would be nice to have a man here more often. We would both feel safer.
Do you know Aloysius Dawson?
Everybody knows him. He's only been to my shop once, though, looking for rare books and other intriguing antiques.
Did he buy something from you?
No, he left quickly. He almost laughed at my goods. Mr. Dawson may be a rich man, but you can't buy good manners.
But isn't Aloysius Dawson known for his philanthropy?
That was before his brother Robert died in an aeroplane crash. Since then, the remaining twin has turned into a heartless tycoon.
Goodbye for now, Miss Price. Good evening, Miss Price.
You know you can call me Carolyn, my dear doctor.
Goodbye.
Dr. Reed, I am glad to see you again. I hope you can stay a little longer this time.
Good morning.
Good evening, Miss Price. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you remember me?
Dr. Reed? Yes, of course. You are the doctor who healed me and my mum. Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Good to see you too, Carol. Are you all right?
Oh, yes. I did not hurt myself recently. I know how to take care of myself now. I'm almost a grown-up.
Why are you awake at night, Carol?
I am helping my mother in her shop. It's not easy, but I'm a grown-up now.
I'm sure your mother is grateful for your help.
I do the best I can. But I'm so clumsy sometimes. I drop things. I injure myself. It's a good thing my mother has the patience of an angel.
Why is work not easy? Is something or someone bothering you?
Oh no, most people are gentle with me. But I'm so nervous sometimes. I pay no attention and hurt myself. Good thing my mum learned first aid.
What can you tell me of the people living nearby?
I don't speak to many people, except our customers. It's not easy to make friends.
What can you tell me about the epidemic?
So
Have you no friends at all?
no. Mr. Nithercote used to pass by and was always nice to me.
Does he not come by anymore?
No. Mum said he was weird. Always reciting poetry about a girl he'd met in Whitechapel. I wonder who this camellia may be.
Is it true you often hurt yourself, Carol?
Yes, it's true. I try to behave, I really do. But one way or another, I always end up injured or wounded. I'm so stupid.
Why would you be stupid?
It's like I can't help getting under my mother's feet. That's how I end up being pushed, cut, or burned. You see, I'm a stupid girl, really.
When exactly do these accidents happen?
Ever since I was little. That's why I need to stay with Mum. I'm not capable of taking care of myself.
Do you enjoy working with your mother?
Oh, yes, Doctor. My mother raised me alone after my father died. We've always lived together, and she has always watched over me.
Do you remember your father?
No, I was just a baby then. My mother always told me how strong and good he was.
Do you ever think about getting married, now you're a woman?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. Mum always says I'm still a child who has no idea how tough life can be. No husband would like a clumsy girl like me.
Have you ever met the famous Aloysius Dawson?
Yes, a very strange man. Not very nice.
What do you mean?
He said he was ready to pay good money for rare books, and then laughed at what we showed him.
Goodbye, Carol.
Oh, I am sorry, I can't help you, sir. Perhaps you should talk with someone else.
Dr. Reed, I am glad to see you again.
Good evening, Miss Price. Carol's gratitude is exemplary. She seems determined never to leave you.
I'm taking care of my daughter as well as I can. It's not always easy, but she's the best gift life gave me.
But she'll probably leave you someday to live her own life. Will that be difficult for you?
Why would she leave? Children sometimes stay with their parents until the end, for they know no one else will love them as much.
Carol's gratitude is exemplary. She seems determined never to leave you.
I'm taking care of my daughter as well as I can. It's not always easy, but she's the best gift life gave me.
But she'll probably leave you someday to live her own life. Will that be difficult for you?
Why would she leave? Children sometimes stay with their parents until the end, for they know no one else will love them as much.
You are responsible for your daughter's many injuries and scars, Carolyn. You brutalize her, don't you?
How could I abuse my own flesh and blood? This is nonsense. It would be like hurting myself.
You really believe you've done nothing wrong, don't you? How long has this been going on for? I should have seen it when you were my patients.
Seen what? Child abuse? Are you mad, Dr. Reed? I dedicated my whole life to my precious Carol. She is a part of me.
Yes. Even her name is just a part of yours. This is a terrible tragedy. Something of an unknown disorder. My God. Abuse that comes from overwhelming love.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. How dare you say something like that? What kind of a monster do you think I am?
Speak to me, Carolyn. Why do you behave like this? How does it make you feel to hurt Carol before cajoling her?
I don't know. It makes me feel good to take care of my daughter. I need to feel useful. No one ever takes care of me. I need someone to take care of me.
Do you realize Carol is a person? Not a toy. Not a doll. The poor girl would put her hand in a flame to please you. You are both trapped in this toxic relationship.
Carol and I are perfectly happy. Leave us be. How stupid I was to believe you could be a suitable husband.
You're a threat to Carol, and no child should feel unsafe in the presence of their parents.
No, Dr. Reed. You are the threat. You are threatening to separate a mother from her only daughter, from the meaning of her life.
Do you know Alois did...
No, he left.
But isn't Alois...
That was before.
Do you know Alois did...
No,
but...
that was...
Goodbye for now. Good evening, young...
My mother always prefers when people simply call me Carol.
You need to understand you are in danger, Carol. Your mother is responsible for all your injuries.
That's a lie. She has always taken good care of me. She only gets irritated when I get under her feet. It's my fault. My mum loves me so much.
Yes, Carol. Your mother believes she loves you as much as you're convinced she loves you. But you are both trapped in a toxic relationship that puts you in danger.
What are you saying? That she lied to me all these years? That she wants me to be miserable? My mother has dedicated her life to my safety.
Dr. Reed, I am glad.
Your mother is terribly sick, Carol. She suffers from one of the most sadistic attitudes I've ever encountered, and tortures you with a twisted sense of love.
No, my mum loves me and only wants the best for me. It's my fault if I can never do anything right. She deserved a better girl than me.
In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust.
I hate late chance! Something fucking beast! I'm crying you!
How's this? Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair, while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
The world is bleak, but maybe the pain we feel is the best compass for making it a better place.
How can we repair the world, Dr. Reed, when mankind is the biggest problem? Yes, the world will be a much better place when we're gone.
How are things now Dr. Swansea has returned?
Better, I suppose.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I'll think about it. Now please, let me be.
I have to go now.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Do you realize your son could try to kill himself again? He might succeed next time.
I think about it every minute. But I won't stop fighting for my son's future. That's how much I love him.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
You're right. Your son's death was not fatal. And unlike many on their own, he is lucky to have you by his side.
I can't give up on him. I just can't. I have conceded many times in my life, but giving up on my son is something I am incapable of.
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his motivations for committing suicide. Tell me more about what you know.
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place, but couldn't.
What do you think he meant by making the world a better place?
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed. It's like he carries everyone's sadness with him.
Why did your son feel so useless when facing the world?
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy facets of life. He couldn't help but dwell on such things.
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first attempt.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this much.
Punish you? Why?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer like this.
How is the situation now Dr. Swansea is back?
I can't say if it's good news or not.
What do you mean?
He used to stay in his office a lot. Now he tends to visit the patients more.
Support the die too in this war.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Jonathan, is that you? I did not know you were back in London. Oh, my dear Johnny, I'm so sorry for your loss. Mary was such a sweetheart.
Thank you, Venus. May I come in?
I was going to bed, actually.
I'm sure you can spare me a few minutes. For old time's sake.
Of course you may enter, Jonathan. I'm so sorry for your loss, Jonathan. At least you survived the Great War. I feared the worst. You know that you are always welcome here. But
It's a pleasure to see you again, Venus.
so you returned from the war in one piece too. Thank God. My Clarence is back home too.
How is the old rascal?
Probably outside, chasing ghosts and chimeras. Clarence has changed a lot since he returned from the war, you know.
How have you been since the last time we met? How long has it been? 3 years now?
I've done my duty, like all British women. You have no idea what it was like to wait for months without knowing if I'd still be a wife or a widow.
I understand. Luckily, this part of town has been saved from the worst of the bombings, from what I've seen.
Yes, and it's also true about the epidemic. The flu has killed here too, of course, but not on such a large scale as in other parts of town.
Have you noticed anything peculiar about the neighborhood recently?
You mean except for your return to town? No. Oh, and again, Jonathan.
Why is my return so surprising?
It's more an unexpected happy end than a surprise. You and Clarence, back from the war. You have no idea how hard it's been for me.
Thank you, Venus. It was so sudden.
I wish I could have assisted at the funeral, but you know, it's been so quick. And what with the epidemic in the streets?
There's no need to apologize, my dear. It's normal, considering the circumstances.
No, it's not. I am sure that Clarence has not even thought to present you his condolences. He is too busy with his penny dreadful stories.
Venus, why do you worry so much about your family's reputation?
Everyone laughs at Clarence now. And they avoid me because they believe I share his insane opinions. I'm a leper in my own community.
Have you any recent news of Aloysius Dawson?
The old goat gave all his money to the poor. I wish he'd thought about sending some to his closest neighbors.
At least you survived the Great War. I feared the worst.
Sorry for your loss, Jonathan. But you are always welcome here. But at this hour of night?
Emily wanted to become a vampire. Something must have gone wrong. Someone is responsible for this mess. But who?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same question.
I'm the Marquis de Bois-Colombes, and I strongly invite you to find your own game, sir.
I'm not here to sustain myself. I'm currently investigating the death of a young woman killed by a vampire.
A young woman killed by a vampire? Oh, you're joking, right? Oh, I do love the British sense of humor.
And who exactly are you?
I am Jacques-Michel Guillaume Florimond de Marquis de Bois-Colombes, at your service, my dear cousin.
You're French, but your English is quite good.
I was born in France, sir, but I consider myself a traveler of this world. So many countries, so many tantalizing tastes.
Dear cousin, are we related?
We could be of the same blood, my dear. I tend to consider all Econs as family, don't you?
What are you doing here?
I recently decided to visit London. I've always dreamed of visiting a city on the verge of collapse. Such a delicate, yet intense spectacle.
You take pleasure from others' misery.
I have been a totally depraved and immoral creature since the day I was reborn, sir. And probably before.
What do you plan to do here?
Take pleasure. Take pictures. Enjoy the show. Have fun. Believe me, I won't be the only foreign immortal who bought a ticket to the fair.
I followed the trail of blood from her room to here.
Oh, you're referring to that young woman. Yes, the meeting turned messy. I'm afraid I ruined my last redingote.
So you admit you murdered her?
I admit nothing, my good sir. I only regret the blood of that girl staining my clothes. Oh, blood can be so messy.
What happened?
She wanted to become one of us. Not the first time I have received such a proposal, but I must admit her direct approach tempted me.
And then what?
The body rejected my blood. It happens, you know, sometimes even with voluntary prey. At least her gurglings brought me some fun, until the artery burst.
I believe you, sir. Emily's diary confirms your statement.
Oh, Emily was her name. Quite charming. Well, mystery solved then.
Yes, I suppose so. You can go.
And so can you. Farewell, sir. May you enjoy the spectacle of this fallen city as much as I do.
You give me no other choice, Clarence. Yes, my love, it's a new tea I bought. Not too bitter for your taste, I hope. Drink your tea, my love. Drink it to the last drop. And shut your damn trap for good.
Hello, Venus.
Hello, Jonathan. Please, come in.
At least you survived the Great War. I feared.
What do you need from me, Jonathan?
Why are you poisoning your husband?
He has spent a fortune printing his bloody papers. I can't stand this nightmare anymore. We are the butt of everyone's jokes since he returned.
If you're so frustrated by Clarence's behavior, why don't you just leave him?
I have already lost the best years of my life because of him. I will not jeopardize my future for some lunatic. He goes, and I inherit what's left.
I cannot let you kill your husband, Venus. This madness is more insane than his obsession.
What are you going to do? Report me to the police? I did my research too, Dr. Reed. The substance I use is undetectable.
Don't press your luck.
And did you see Clarence's state of mind? What would become of him if left alone?
I won't lie to you, Johnny. I'm not a well man.
Venus is poisoning you, Clarence. She wants you dead.
So she really hates me that much now. My poor wife. I had no idea my research would drive her to such extremes.
I'm sorry, Clarence.
Why would you tell me that? First you returned from the dead, and now you tell me my wife is trying to murder me.
So you have no suspicions about her at all? Nothing in Venus's behavior has...
Frankly, it's my behavior that's been odd. Ever since I got back from the war,
You're a stupid bastard, but you're my friend, Clarence. And I don't have many left. I don't want you to die. Not like that. Have you any news about Aloysius Dawson?
I was hoping he would finance my research. But I heard he's given all his money to the sick and poor.
I have found out what happened to your friend, Emily.
I can handle the truth. There's no need to hide the bloody details.
Your friend was planning to become a vampire. She thought she'd met an honest one and made a deal with him. Unfortunately, Emily did not survive the process.
My mother told me many times about the risks of being turned. I often suspected she exaggerated the danger to avoid me being tempted.
No, the risk is real. Have you any idea what a body has to endure? To become an organism entirely consumed by its need to process and recombine blood.
I should never have talked to Emily about vampires. I never thought she'd actually try it without me. Thank you, sir. Here, take this for your discretion.
What is your opinion of Aloysius Dawson?
It seems the old sod gave all his fortune to the poor and to charities at the last minute. I wonder what part you played in that turnaround.
Miss Teasdale.
Can I help you, Dr. Reed?
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
Never heard of him.
Really? He's very well known in London. Throughout the country, even.
He a big shot or something? Never interested in politics myself. All words and no action.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
So, did you try the restaurant I recommended?
Oh, yes. I can't thank you enough, my dear doctor. Exquisite, but expensive. But what is money made for, if not for little pleasures?
I'm glad you enjoyed the place.
I do, Doctor, I do. Thank you again.
Calhoun, tell me about your relationship with Doris Fletcher.
Oh, Doris. Cold fire and burning ice trapped in a perfect body.
How did you meet her?
On a boat to France before the war. She was thinking about a career in Paris, and I was eager to try French gastronomy. We both returned disappointed.
I expect you've seen her on stage, too.
She really is the best actress of her generation. Such frailty and such strength at the same time. I hope she'll play again soon. She's been away for too long.
You sound surprisingly sad. Have you regrets?
I think of her as a divine dish. I'm glad.
You really...
She fascinated me, Dr. Reed. I can't imagine what she must have endured through her life to reach such a level of emotion and sensibility.
Have you any news on Aloysius Dawson?
I heard he died and gave all his money to the poor. Now that's a good man. An example for us all to follow.
Again, Mother.
Jonathan, back already? Good, good. I was just about to go outside to find you. You shouldn't stay away for so long.
Father seems to have left me some documents. Some sort of treasure hunt game. Do you know anything about them?
No, Johnny. But your father always loved to write these little games for you when you were a boy. Don't you remember?
I remember now. He used to post me these riddles, as though they were sent by a mysterious games master. I'd spend weeks trying to decipher them.
Your father was always so proud each time you found the answer. He was not just the serious, dour banker everybody thought he was.
I was proud too. How could I forget that?
The important thing is that you remember it now. I'll tell your father the next time I see him. He'll be...
Could Father have conceived some sort of final game for me before he left?
I really can't say, Johnny. Perhaps you should talk with Avery about that. He was your father's confidant.
Good evening, Jonathan Reed. Can I help you in any way?
Tell me the truth, Usher. Are you a vampire?
By the stole, you really thought you could force Usher Talltree to yield to your little mind tricks like an oblivious mortal?
So, are you or are you not a vampire?
As a brilliant man once said, to be unambiguous could only be to one's own detriment.
Why can't I force you to answer me then?
I'm the primate of St. Paul's Stole. It comes with certain advantages, like accessing the greatest library in the country and avoiding answering certain questions.
Have you any news concerning Aloysius Dawson?
You unburdened his heart and cleared his mind. A most elegant solution, I must say, Jonathan.
I found your notebook. The one the guard of Prewan stole from you.
And you brought it back to me. That's excellent news, Jonathan. Were you able to keep yourself from reading it?
No.
Ah, the oldest temptation of all. If Pandora herself did not pass the test, I suppose I should not blame you for your curiosity.
So you're not angry with me?
Why should I be? To live is to make choices, Jonathan. And you made yours. Now give it to me, please. Yet it amuses me to converse with your kind. The Red River, the song in the dark, the whispers of a sun.
Is it true you were dropped in rank? Tell me about it.
Yes, it is. I made a terrible mistake.
I deserved it. Sometimes I think I should have resigned.
So why are you still working here?
Because I'm a damn fine copper. I just don't want to have someone innocent hung again by mistake because of me.
The death penalty can...
Those are strange, cold words coming from a doctor who claimed to take every rip.
What are you investigating, exactly?
Well, my 2 missing persons cases have been solved by you.
I was lucky enough to find them both while conducting my investigation.
Why do I still have the feeling that you're hiding something? What about...
I don't think so. You had better interview Miss Teasdale and Mr. Kimura on that matter. All I did was to lead them safely home. Have you recent news of Aloysius Dawson?
Come on. The most ruthless tycoon of England dies and gives his fortune to the poor. The man has been tricked. I suspect torture and murder here.
What are you in...
Well,
What? Do you need...
I'm fine, thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
How is the sanitary situation evolving in Whitechapel these days?
My only relief is that my Matthew died before seeing the madness that approaches.
Goodbye.
Jonathan, my dear, I can never thank you enough.
Thank me? For what?
Come now, you know what I mean. I am... well, I'm just like you.
I'm glad you like it.
How could I not be happy? You offered me the ultimate freedom. More than I ever could have dreamt of.
Have you news of Geoffrey McCullum? I'm sure both of you would have quite an interesting discussion after recent events.
He left the hospital without being treated for the severe beating you gave him. We'll meet again soon enough.
Does not the prospect of meeting him as a vampire thrill you? The 2 old enemies reunited post-mortem.
Maybe we could even share a glass of... wine. I really don't know if he will accept his condition. He has spent his life beheading leeches, you know.
What will you do now that you are immortal?
Experiment, my dear colleague. I have an eternity to make scientific progress. I could be the only scientist able to undertake extreme experiments upon himself.
What kind of experiments?
Who knows? Nervous shock, brain damage, pain and recovery. There's almost no limit to what my body can now endure. I could be the next Henry Head.
My God, Edgar. Did you learn nothing from your forays into folly?
I have, I swear. No more experiments on mortals. See? I said mortals. How quickly the mind adapts.
Will you continue as Pembroke's administrator?
Of course. I can help more than ever. And since I'm already dead, I can't get sick.
Have you seen Elizabeth? Has she passed this way since you returned?
No. And I'm terrified to see her again. I really am, Jonathan. She could very well tear me to pieces for what I did.
Are you not afraid Priwen will find you? Next time, they will do more than abduct and torture you.
I remain a man of peace. If things were to go awry, I would flee rather than slice them up as you would, my friend.
How do you feel since you changed?
Absolutely fine. Did you know I can determine the health of every patient or nurse just by looking at him? Fascinating.
Have you taken a life?
Don't you think that's a private matter? I would not ask you such an indiscreet question.
Do you feel the hunger?
Yes. It's very peculiar, not like mortal hunger at all. It's like I'm never sated. Fortunately, blood is no rare commodity at Pembroke.
Evening, Is the situation better now that Dr. Swansea has returned?
I don't know. He seems different.
How so?
Last night, someone approached me while I was sleeping. I didn't move. Not a muscle, but he was sniffing my neck. Just like Thelma does.
Are you sure it was Dr. Swansea?
I recognized his cologne.
What happened then?
Left without a word. Gave me the right fucking willies, it did.
Are things better now that Dr. Swansea is back?
The vampire hunters have not come back. I hope this time it's for good.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are things now that Dr. Swansea is back?
I must admit, the situation is better. We still have to deal with the epidemic, but it's good to have someone in charge again.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
How is the situation now that Dr. Swansea is back?
I'm impressed by the man. He was abducted, and now he's back happy as ever, helping the patients all night long. An example to us all.
Situation?
I'm impressed by the man. He was abducted, and now he's back happy as ever, helping the patients all night long. An example to us all.
How is everything now that Dr. Swansea is back?
The hospital could not keep on like this, without an administrator. So things are back to normal, I guess.
How are things now Dr. Swansea is back?
He visited me soon after his return. He asked me if I'd agree to some experimental procedure. I said I'd think about it.
Your mother won't let you down, Mortimer. Don't you share her hope for a better future?
No. I don't.
Won't you even try?
Do you want me to promise you I'll get better? Do you want me to tell her the same thing? I could, but it would not change anything.
Are things better now Dr. Swansea has returned?
Dr. Swansea visited here for the first time last night. He wanted to know if the corpses were adequately confined.
What do you think of that?
I'm glad, sir. We spent too many weeks facing death and disease without really taking security measures. It's good to have him back.
Good evening, miss. Can I help you? I'm a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I am Karina Billow. I don't need any doctor. The rats. Where are the rats?
Miss, you don't seem well at all. Are you afraid of rats?
No, it's me who bites them. Tasty.
What happened to you?
The rats. The answer hides in their little crunchy bones. Their juicy, tiny brains.
Miss Billow, please, try to concentrate. Why do you worry about rats so much?
The voice in my head. He forces me to do so. Drink their blood, he said. Eat their flesh.
Do you feel compelled to obey that voice, Miss Billow? Even if you're loath to submit to it?
Yes.
Tell me about the voice in your head. Who is it? Can you describe it? Is it someone you know? Someone you met?
Keep your mouth shut, he said. Don't ever speak about me, or I'll abandon you.
What is the local news hereabouts, Miss?
Shadows. Shadows hunting shadows. Whispers in the dark. Pestilence. Suffering.
Tell me about yourself, Miss Billow. What do you do?
Oh, I'm hungry. Need to eat. Have you got something for me? Blood, perhaps? Can you give me blood, Dr. Reed?
Don't you remember who you are, miss? What you did for work?
I was Strong, proud. I campaigned for good causes. But that was before. Before. It does not matter anymore. I'm so hungry.
Have you recent news of Aloysius Dawson?
He is dead, I've heard. You make me sick, you juicy, warm treat. Damn it! Oh my! What have we got here? A dead rat. Oh, so gross. So tempting. Eternal life. Through the blood of the lesser beasts, he said. Oh, dear God, help me. Save me, for I can't stand what I've become. Rats. Tasty rats. Those clever rodents are cautious now. They won't approach.
Why do you eat rats, Karina?
Their flesh contains the path to immortality. I have to eat them all if I want to live. Help me. Please. Make it stop.
I don't know if I can, miss. You have been tricked, forced to play a disgusting game. I don't know how to save you.
Kill me then, Doctor. Take my life. I beg you.
I won't interfere with another Ekon's game, Miss Billow. You're someone else's prey.
Then you are as cruel as he is. You are as wicked as he is. You're a monster!
What good fortune brings you back to me, Jonathan? What is it, my dear?
I'm afraid it's bad news, Elizabeth. The worst, actually.
Please, speak up.
Edgar is no longer in McCullum's grasp. I resolved that matter.
Where is our good friend now? Is he well?
Of a sort. His injuries were mortal. I had no choice but to make him one of us. To save him. Or to punish him.
To punish him? I fail to understand. And what is the source of this cold tone in your voice?
Edgar Swansea was responsible for the Skull epidemic, Elizabeth. It was he who unleashed the deadly scourge upon London.
What? Are you certain? This is the most terrible accusation of all.
He confessed everything to me. He sought to cure the disease, to exploit vampire blood to stop the epidemic. But he unwittingly gave birth to a catastrophe.
All those poor victims. How could he do it? What happened?
Edgar gave no heed to ethics. His theory could have been proven to be correct, but he abused the confidence of his patients to test it.
I must say I'm shocked, Jonathan. Who would have thought it? And the poor patient. Let me guess. It was Harriet Jones, was it not?
Yes. That explains how Doris Fletcher was infected, and how she became an Icor. She secretly visited her mother at Pembroke.
Then we have no choice. We must act quickly, Jonathan. We must return to the sewers and put an end to the threat poor Harriet embodies.
I have one more matter to discuss with you. Harriet Jones was the primary case, but... do you know what a healthy carrier is?
There is a tone in your voice that frightens me, Jonathan. What are you trying to say?
It was your blood Edgar used for his experiment on Harriet Jones.
What? No. No. This can't be. Oh.
Elizabeth. Are you all right?
No, I have to go.
What do you mean?
Leave me alone. Save the city, Jonathan. Save what can be saved.
Elizabeth, I need answers. Why did your blood
Stay
cause
away
this?
from me. Please. I swear I never was your enemy.
Wait! No! Elizabeth! Now would be a good time to blend the recipe Marshall used when he fought the disaster. I think I know where to find what I need. This place. Rain may have washed away the blood, but not the memory. My poor Mary. This place looks like the picture I saw of the bomb site. Yes. The place has changed since the explosion, but it was definitely here. I should find some way to pay my respects. May all who suffered from this tragedy find or rest in peace.
For now, everything seems under control, more or less.
Don't forget to keep an eye out for this garden. Something, sweetie. My guess is they're recruiting for some vengeance.
In the mean... You again. What do you want?
I know you believe monsters are real, Booth.
They are. I know, I saw one, but no one believes me.
Tell me what you saw.
It was a few years ago. Clay Cox was still the boss then. He'd sent me to the shipyard to find out who was stealing tools and ropes at night.
Go on.
First, I thought it was an old lady with a limp. It looked frail and crooked. Then I saw it grab a bloody beam and lift it like it was a stick. I shouted. It looked straight at me.
Do you know what it was?
It was all eyes and long teeth, but I couldn't see its face. I shot at it when it moved towards me and I hit it. And then it jumped and vanished in the shadows.
You could have imagined all that. These docks can be so gloomy at night. With the fog and the wind and the boats creaking.
No, Doctor. That night I saw the fucking sewer dog for real. It's not a beast like the stories say. It's the ghost of an old woman. Bullets can't stop it. But no one believes me.
Are your friends mocking you?
Even Edwina told me once to never speak about it, but I know what I saw. And it wasn't a human. No human.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
Are you worried about the...
The bodies are piling up, but I'm not afraid. I'm still alive, and I intend to stay that way.
Tell me your feelings about Booth's belief in monsters, Edwina.
It makes him look weak in front of the boys, that's my feeling about it. But ghosts don't scare me.
You don't believe he really saw something, then?
I don't care what he saw or not. All I know is that a real man keeps his fears to himself if he wants to be obeyed.
I managed to reach the mass grave in Southwark. It was not pleasant.
Spare me the details, Dr. Reed. All I want to know is what happened to those bastards who owed me money.
I'm afraid those bastards, as you call them, are in the mass grave.
Dead? Shit. That money would have been useful. Well, I'll tell...
Yes. Everybody should avoid that place until further notice.
Okay then, Doctor. It looks like you deserve your reward after all. The Wet Boot Boys thank you for your help.
Goodbye, Miss Cox. I found the location of the explosion, Mr. Delaney. I placed a flower for you where it happened, just as you asked.
Really? That's so kind. I never thought someone would... Well, thank you, Doctor.
It's nothing, really. And I'm sorry for your loss.
What? No, I didn't know them. No car was supposed to park there that day. Stupid bastard, why did he park there?
You're the man who hit that bomb. I sense your guilt, Dyson. Why is that? Did you not think violence was an acceptable political tool?
I still believe our fight was just. Like killing an innocent couple who were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. No way.
You made a mistake. A terrible mistake. Maybe an unforgivable one. But that does not mean that you are a monster.
I swear I did not want to kill anyone. I did not hide in the shadow to kill on purpose. That's my only defense.
I want you to remember the bomb, Dyson. Tell me about it.
No. I don't want to remember it.
The victims. They were not the target then.
I spent so much time figuring out the perfect moment. I used a short fuse. No car had ever parked there. They all died.
No, Dyson, they didn't all die. I met a boy who survived the explosion.
I never heard of an injured boy.
Not a scratch on him. I suspect he wasn't in the car when it exploded.
In the car? You mean...
Yes, Dyson. You killed his parents.
Why tell me this?
I don't know. Perhaps one day you will talk to him and tell him the truth.
Who is that boy? How can I find him?
That's easy. Most of the time, he's in the same place. The place you never want to go back to. Why use a bomb? What were you trying to destroy?
The Dawson & Dawson ammunitions factory. A symbol of violence against the people. My group wanted to destroy it to send a message.
There it is. Insulin. Much more efficient than garlic against blood poisoning and sepsis, and much less dangerous for me. Thank you, Dr. Polescu. If McCullum really drank the blood of King Arthur, then I may have found another vital ingredient for my recipe. Good evening, Vampire Hunter.
Are you here to mock me, Reed?
Not at all, McCullum. I am here because I need you.
Really? I'm intrigued. Speak up, then.
I need the blood of a king. The blood of Arthur. I'm certain you possess it, and I must have it.
The Guard's most sacred and precious relic. Why would you... You found Marshall's memoirs. I should have destroyed that book.
I need the antidote to save this city, McCollum.
It is within me to take your words as truth. I want to, but I must know more. What precisely are your plans?
I have found the carrier, McCullum. The infection's source. It may be science or some supernatural power that's responsible for all this. But I will harness either or both to end the epidemic.
A vampire doctor. My God, you're a terrifying creature. Jonathan Emmett Reed.
Do you not understand? We wanted the same thing from the outset. A means to end this vampire epidemic.
Not enemies. Maybe that is so. Take it then. I see no other hope for this city. If this is some trick, you will be damned, Dr. Reed.
Thank you. Can we speak more?
Indeed. Why not?
Why are you here?
The man who raised me after the brutal murder of my parents. He's buried here.
Were both your parents killed by vampires?
Yes. And yet worse. My father returned to Dublin a vampire and tore out my mother's throat.
And who was this man?
Carl Eldritch. One-time leader of Prewin. He killed my father in front of me. Helped me hunt my brother Ain after teaching me how to kill leeches.
How are you adapting to immortality?
I feel so powerful it gives me shivers. I could be the greatest vampire hunter ever. Your worst nightmare in truth.
Will you leave the Guard now that you are what you are?
Are we not creatures of deceit? I could hide my nature from my men, or name a successor. Go my own way. I know not yet my path.
Will you leave the...
Are we not creatures of deceit? I could hide my nature from my men, or name a successor. Go my own way. I know not yet my path.
Will you hunt me down?
You seem a decent fellow for a vampire. I've seen no evidence of you taking an innocent life.
Will you hunt?
You seem a decent fellow for a vampire. I've seen no evidence of you taking an innocent life.
Farewell.
Do not stretch your luck, Reed.